Hi, I'm Christina. Welcome to this episode of Women's Health, Wealth, and Happiness Interviews to Inspire. This episode is sponsored by 1 Minute Calm. Breathe, live, and love the moment that you're in. Our next guest embodies strength, time, and connection in her life. She believes that being physically strong supports mental and emotional resilience. Knowing one can handle life's challenges lessens vulnerability and is preparation to face adversity with confidence. Sarah emphasizes the importance of being strong for family, friends, and clients, offering reliability in times of need. Time is her most valuable currency, far more important than money. She never underestimates the value of giving someone her time, even if it means rearranging other commitments. This understanding deepens as time becomes more precious. Sarah is deeply connected globally with friends, family, and open to those she has yet to meet. As the youngest of 5, she values the strong bonds with her widespread family and strives to create the same for her own 5 children. Connecting people to others and to solutions is at the core of who she is, connecting people to people and people to solutions. Join us in welcoming Sarah.
Hi, how are you, Christina? Well, I'm Sarah. I'm based in Queensland in Australia. This isn't my birthplace. I actually was born overseas. I was born in the UK, but my parents, I grew up in Hong Kong. So I spent the first 13 years of my life in Asia, then the next in the UK when we returned there. And by the time I remember stepping off the plane as a 13-year-old and turning to my mum and saying, yeah, I'm not staying here. And she said to me, that's okay, just get through school and the world is your oyster. And that's pretty much what I did. So once I got through school and university, I put a backpack on, traveled the world, got to Australia and went, oh, I like this place. I think this is my new home. And 25 years later, here I am still. So absolutely true blue Aussie now. And yeah, I love it. So yeah, that's a bit about where I started from. But spent lots of time in lots of different places. And it's funny, I was just chatting to my husband. We've just been on away, and I said to him, I really love our house, but I've got plenty more adventures. I'm happy to live other places. And he was like, yeah, me too. Let's just get these kids out the way, and then we can, and then we can go and find our next home.
Sarah, for your health word, you picked strong. How do you maintain a balance between physical strength and mental resilience in your daily routine?
The reason I chose strong is because physical strength to me really helps with my mental strength. When I don't feel strong, it impacts so many other parts. And I think the older I've got, the more I realize that physical strength is really important to maintain. And I hadn't really known that. No one ever told me that. But knowing that you can still do things, it really impacts your mental well-being. Whether you can get through a full day of work and do all the things that you used to do, because it your body has a habit of changing as you get older, and it creeps up on you. And although I still think of myself as a 25-year-old that can do anything, I think, that the older you get, the more you have these little vulnerabilities. So definitely hitting 40 and realizing that it was up to me to do with this body what I needed to do with it. It wasn't just going to keep going the way I thought it might do. That really was a bit of an eye opener, and yeah, I just wanted that mental strength. You really build on your mental strength when you know that you can do all these other physical things. And just to put it out there, I'm not a triathlete, I'm not a Olympic, marathon runner or anything like that. I do Pilates, I walk everywhere, but knowing I can is really, really important to how then I go through the rest of my day.
And with your busy schedule, with the 5 children and running your business, how do you find time for this strength training and your mental training too?
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I actually started off as when I was younger, I worked as a personal trainer. And one of the first industries after uni I worked in was the wellness and weight loss industry. And I used to coach and do things. So the trick really, well, my little trick is don't set yourself crazy goals. The amount of people that and this is in business too. So I do a lot of coaching with businesses and individuals, and when they sit down and they talk to me and they say, I want to get here. It's like, great, that's really good. Now we're going to chunk that down and work out how you get there. And I think that health and physical well-being is exactly the same. It's, yeah, we all want to be, have a body like Elle Macpherson and do all these things. But the truth is the more important thing is, what are you going to do every single day that's going to get you to where you want to be? So, my advice and everything that I do is just simply ask myself if I could do something a different way that can then input some of that work. So, an example, I walk to work. Now it's around a 7K walk. It takes me about an hour, but I listen to podcasts. I'm one of those terrible people that walk along talking into my phone so that I can get all my, I'm like, right, okay, I'm going to like set up a few emails so that when I get to work, I can just tap and go. Because my brain works better when I'm walking. And I quite often, when people say, do you want a meeting? I say, can we walk together? Is that a good meeting? Especially with other women. They're really receptive to that. If I say, can we do a walk at lunchtime? Because I call it net walking, because it's such a great way when you're using your body, your brain just gets stimulated and you go, oh, yeah, that's right. That's really good. And what did you do here? And yeah, it's a great opportunity to do it. But so really the advice being is fit it into things you already do. Right. I already had to get to work somehow. Now I could sit in traffic and drive, or I could be on the train and watch something, or I can do it my way. And if you are catching a bus, get off one stop earlier and then walk the rest of the way. And then you'll find after a month you might want to get off 2 stops earlier. But a month is okay. 2 months is okay. 10 months is okay. Just do that one thing. And it's amazing how one thing leads to the next thing and the next thing. Yeah, and also if you do have kids, then I'm a really big fan of active active stuff with kids. So if I choose something to do with us, it's always something I want to do, which is, let's go rock climbing, let's go kayaking, let's do something that mum wants to do. And they're like, wow, this is great. And I'm like, yeah, that's ticked a box for me too, because I can get out there. So as much as it's hanging out with them, I'm always looking for fun things that I want to do too.
It's fun because children have a way, whatever age they are, of inspiring us to get physical because they're nonstop energy.
That's right. That's right. And as I have children who are a bit older, so like 21 down to 11, and trust me, that energy when they hit their teens, it changes. And I think, where I see things now is the things I really took for granted when they were little and sometimes found frustrating because you're always on the go. I really yearn for now because they don't necessarily want to hang out with you in the same way. It's very different. So I'm so glad I took those opportunities when they were younger to do those things. I've just recently had a birthday a couple of weeks ago, It was a pretty significant birthday, I have to say. I won't say how big, but it was pretty significant. And the kids said, "Oh, what do you want to do for your birthday?" And I was like, "Yeah, I bought tickets to Movie World. We're going to go and hang out at Movie World." And we all went on the rides. And I was like, "That's what I wanted to do." And I just love seeing their faces when you do all this stuff. And it was the best day ever. It was really fantastic. And yeah, 21 down to 11 and everything in between. And it's something that we can all have fun with.
And it's interesting you talked about with age, because you think about when we're in our 20s, we're like, we're going to hit that exercise class, we're going to do that spinning class, we're going to do that. And then family comes along and things change. And then you hit that point where you're like, oh, I've got to get back to that spinning class and that walking and that movement that I've lost for myself because I've been having fun with the kids the entire time too. But it's
Yeah.
interesting how it becomes a different priority.
Definitely, and it's really interesting because I meet so many young mums. Like I work with a lot of young mums now because I'm a big believer in enabling other females coming through the workforce and working. It's really hard when your kids are young. It's hard to fit everything in, but they're so hard on themselves too, and I struggle with that because you know you just do what you can do and be grateful that you can do that. Trust me, there'll come a time when they don't need you anymore. They really will. It's quite a short period of your life that you really are with them, and it feels like forever when you're a young mum, but it is a short time. And if you can't fit it in, you can't fit it in today. Maybe tomorrow will be easier. And then soon enough, you'll realize that it can fit in. But I think that's something I wish I could, that gift I wish I could give people is, don't be so hard on yourself. It's your body has held these amazing humans. Yeah, it's changing. And it's a changed body. But it's your body, and it's just keep looking after it, keep doing what you're doing, and don't give up thinking that tomorrow you might do a little bit more. That's all, and tomorrow you might do, but if you don't, that's actually okay too. Yeah, that permission piece, I think when we're younger, it really is a gift getting older. And I'd never have said that when I was in my 30s, but I really think it's a gift to have that hindsight and know that you're just a lot more accepting of what you can and can't do, and what you can do and what you don't want to do anymore too.
Yeah, I like the word that you just said, permission, because I think when you finally realize that is what it is, give yourself permission to say it's okay. That's a huge piece.
And that takes me through work too. I'm in a startup business, been working for the corporates for a number of years, built my business while working full time, and it's one of those things that you get hard on yourself because you think, oh, maybe I should be doing better, or maybe I should be doing this, but you know what? It is what it is, and there's lots of things that you do, but it's slow and steady, and you just keep turning up. Like that's the trick I think with life is you just keep turning up. And some days you get it better than others, and other days it's not so great. But as long as you just keep turning up, it gets better and better and better all the time.
So your wealth, oh my goodness, your wealth word is time. I absolutely love this as a wealth word. How do you
Um,
prioritize your time so that you can give full commitment to yourself, your family, your projects?
Well, it's taken a lot of time to get to the point where I can say no to things, but it also means that when I do say yes, I'm really dedicated to that piece. Look, time, as you mentioned when we first opened, it was the most valuable currency, and It really is, because if you speak to anybody who doesn't have any time left in their life, that's the one thing they wish they had more of. And it really doesn't matter how much money you have at the end, time is always something that you want more of. And so I have never ever underestimated the value when people stop and give you their time, especially when when you have had children, how busy you are. And I don't normally like the word busy, but with kids it is busy because it's sort of pointless busy. You're doing a lot of taking them to and fro, and you're just doing things, not even necessarily important things, but there's a lot of stuff to be done. And so when you do have the time, you really appreciate it. And it could just be a simple thing like sitting down, having a cup of coffee with a girlfriend when there's no kids around, and you're like, oh, I remember this. I remember this feeling where we could just be and talk and chat and laugh and be ourselves. And then, in my work life, when someone gives you the time, and in particular, when you do have your own business and you've built all these connections over the years with corporates, and people are very busy, and they're actually also really quite important in what they have to do all day, and they give you the time to hear about what you're doing. That just blows me away. And I'm always really grateful when people say, sure, Sarah, I've got an hour. Let's grab a coffee. Tell me what you're doing. And let's see if there's anything that we can work together, or if there's someone I know that you should meet. So that currency is just crazy important to me. And it really does cross business and home life, because knowing, like I said before, that your kids get older and they have different things. You mentioned you have a 10-year-old, so you're not quite in that stage yet where they're not that bothered with you. But all of a sudden it was, wow, I just want to have some time with you. What would you like to do? And a classic example of this with the kids is, I don't know what it's like in the States, but in Australia, we have to do 100 hours of driving with the kids before they can take their license. Now, my first son, that 100 hours seemed like forever. It really was. You can do it over a year. And then by the end, he went off driving, and of course, he didn't need me anymore. He didn't need me to sit with him anymore. And I was like, oh, that 100 hours was actually quite precious. So by the time my daughter came along, I was like, okay, my mindset was different. It was, I have 100 hours with you because I know I'm not going to see you at the end. Admittedly, the first 40 hours are quite hideous. And but the next 60 are quite enjoyable. And then by the time I taught my third son to drive, I was like, yeah, I know this is going to end. And I did just enjoy, well, most of it, but it was that time. It was that pure time of me and them, and knowing that they were my captive audience, sort of thing. So yeah, time is incredibly important.
Do you have a moment when you had given your time that made a significant impact on your overall life?
I had people that have left my life through illness, and definitely having the time with those people and knowing that it was very precious, that was very significant. And although I'd always valued time as a currency, it really was those moments that I realized just how powerful time is, that I wouldn't take it for granted, because yeah, it's one of those things that, unfortunately, humans And in this day and age, most of us have experienced, well, certainly by the time you hit this age, most of us have experienced that kind of loss. It does hit you in the face that life isn't forever, and you know what, that's okay, but you just kind of have to make the most of every opportunity. And sometimes it's, I feel very privileged that I've been able to spend time with people that where it has been limited, because it's really given me a gift of gratitude and yeah, just a sense of, well, you know what, it's a pretty special life, so take it, run with it, and have some fun and do everything you want to do.
And the beauty is those experiences, as difficult as they are, is we can share them and pass on the stories to others. If you had all the time that it wasn't even an issue, what is something that you would love to accomplish?
I have very big dreams, which I fully intend to accomplish. And I will keep going. My husband calls it the wonderful world of Sarah, because I do have these big dreams. Um, Look, I'm a big believer in female empowerment, not to discount any male's ability, but at this day and age, I feel a little bit cranky that we're not a bit further along than we are. Don't get me started on that conversation. But certainly as well with age, sometimes we can get discounted even more so as we get older, which I also get very cranky about. So I do, certainly within my business, surround myself with other females doing their own thing, because I think together and collectively we are very powerful, because I think that we've been through enough that we know, you know what, we don't mind walking in a room and telling it how it is now. I'm usually the person that asks asks the questions that other people aren't always brave enough to ask, because if someone has to, and you know what, making people a little bit uncomfortable is not always a bad thing. Um, yeah, I think. Uh, I mean, look, if I had all the time in the world, then I would just want to keep doing what I'm doing forever. And but definitely for me, that piece is around empowering others. It's not about me. I love bringing other people on. That's what actually gives me energy. So that's my energy boost, is seeing other people shine. Moment where they go, "Ah, I did that." It's like, yes, you did do that. Now go and do more of it. And I was the same as a mum with my kids. It's like, you know what, you want to do something? Let's make this happen. You do it. And it's, yeah, with other females who often doubt themselves so much, that's what I like to give my time to. And I really, really appreciate all the people that did that for me too, and the women that give their time to me, the women that I admire, that I look at and go, wow, I want to be like you. When I grow up, I want to be you, and I still think that.
Well, hello, it's Sylvia Tourstein on Health, Wealth, and Happiness. Happiness is waking up to this, flying in the dark, and then waking up and just seeing absolute beauty everywhere you turn, everywhere you look, even if it's from the 14th floor. And just look at this. Look over my shoulder. Look at this. Everyone having happiness. Everyone having happiness in their life. Find yourself a little happiness. Go get some sunshine. Go catch some waves. Hang 10. Because this is what you've got to do. It's your life. Enjoy. Enjoy with me right here. Look. Just look. Happiness. I'm Sylvia. Sarah, Your happiness word is connected. Tell us a little bit more about what that means to you.
So connected is an interesting one. I originally actually had family as this one, but that didn't cover enough. So I changed it to connected because I guess because I'm someone that's moved around a lot, and met a lot of people, that connected piece is what keeps me going, really. All of my family don't live in Australia. Obviously, my kids and my own family do, but I'm one of five and I'm the only one that lives here. But I couldn't do that unless I stayed connected with all of my family across the world. We're super lucky these days we have technology. I'm a massive fan of technology. My dad was a really huge fan of technology. Growing up in Hong Kong, I was super lucky because, we had computers really early because my dad was really into the next thing and the next thing. And even now in their late 80s, they still FaceTime and, my mum's on Instagram and Facebook and all these different things. And I feel very privileged that they are an older generation that has stayed connected, but they've stayed connected because their family, their kids have sort of gone far and wide. And I think back to when I first started traveling, and I used to have to call my parents on a payphone, and anyone younger than 30, it was like a box that you went into and picked up a phone and put money in. But it was a reverse charge call to my parents on a Sunday, and literally it would be, "This is the country I'm in. I'm doing okay. Thanks so much. Bye." Um, and my mum said, she always wanted me to travel and do whatever I wanted to do, but she said it was, just she never really knew where I was. And then when I started traveling after university, Hotmail had come in, and it really changed the world. It was all of a sudden she could get an instant message as long as I could get access to an internet cafe. And you may need to, again, put a little subset on what an internet cafe is for people. But at least I could just quickly send her an email saying, "This is where I am, this is where I'm staying." So that really changed it, and that helped us stay connected. And as through a business lens, my whole job is connecting people. I connect businesses to solutions. I work in engagement, sustainability engagement. I engage teams in the art of sustainability and building sustainability into their workplace. And you can't do that unless you, one, connect people to the problem. Another one of my passion pieces is women and the planet. And you really have to connect people with each other and know that you are a community and a connected community to solve problems. So connected is a really, really important word to me because you notice it in your life when you're disconnected. And I think that's where it is. And I think, if people were to seriously pause this moment and just think to themselves, "Gosh, yeah, I remember being disconnected." And it's not a nice feeling. And sometimes that's disconnected from your partner, sometimes it's disconnected from your family, and sometimes it's because of things you're going through. But it's not a good feeling disconnected. And so connected is a very strong sense, a human sense that we need. So it's, yeah, incredibly important to me.
When did you realize that you had this gift, that you could be the one to connect people in your personal life as well as your professional life?
I think I definitely always had it, but I probably didn't give myself the permission to embrace it until I was probably 40, to be honest. Yeah, I've always been really good at it. And C dots, dot connector, all these different things, and helping people. But it was a culmination of all the years that all of a sudden someone would say, "Well, what are you good at?" And I'd be like, "Well, I'm really good at connecting people, engaging people, doing things." And it was funny because my previous role, how I worked before, was I have always engaged teams. But I used to engage teams in mission, vision, values, sales, let's kick goals, let's do all these things. And 3 years ago, I looked around and thought, okay, our planet's in trouble here. I need to figure out what my piece is in all of this. And I didn't want to go back to university. I love learning, and I'm constantly learning and doing different courses, but I didn't want to have to just go back and do like a sustainability environmental degree. I wanted to get into it. So I had a long, hard look at what it is I did, and pretty much just pivoted into sustainability. So, when people say, "Oh, what did how do you get into this?" I'm like, well, I've always been in engagement. And now I just have a different topic. I'm equally as passionate about both because I'm all about empowering people to be the best versions of themselves at work. Work is almost 50% of your life. Let's enjoy it while you're there, and let's do something fun, and make you feel like you're part of something. But sustainability was the conversation that needed every single person doing what they can. So I'm happy to be out there and keep connecting people to, the problems of our planet, and the fact that climate change is real, and social problems fall out from climate change. And these are things that we should be thinking about every day. And you know, the idea that we might not have what we have, or our grandchildren might not have what we have, just makes me get up every day and go, you know what? I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this through the power of business. I can talk to individuals, but to me, business was the collective for change. So I'm going to use business to really help create that change. Uh, and I just won't stop until I need to stop.
Interesting, because I see all three words with what you do. The strength, I have a strong feeling about this. I'm passionate about doing this. And something I think you may have posted is we don't have time to be wasting anymore. We have to get on this sustainability and connected as a community and connected to the planet that we live on. So I see all three words in what you do every day.
And it's great. Like here in Australia, we, at the beginning of meetings and events and things like that, we always give gratitude to our Indigenous people for the land that we live on. To me, it's so important because that land is what needs to what needs to sustain us for a very long time. And I am passionately grateful for all the Indigenous people that have been able to look after our land for centuries and centuries and centuries and centuries before we got here and did other things with it. But I am very grateful, and that knowledge that they have about our land, and knowing the changes that are coming, it's to me it's being grateful for the land you stand on. It just grounds you every day to know that the truth is Mother Nature is very powerful, and don't mess with her, look after her. And she is a mother after all, and we're feisty. So it's that sort of look around you. Sometimes I think people need to pause, look around, take a deep breath, and really understand, okay, wow, we're pretty lucky with what's around us. Now, how can we help maintain that, and still do the amazing stuff that we're doing, but just really be careful of our planet and make sure that we respect it.
Sarah, if you could give the gift of health, wealth, or happiness, which one would you give and why?
It's a really good question. And I had to really think hard about this one because obviously I would like to package it all up and give it as one. But definitely health. It's got to be health for me because it's the one thing you can't control in your life. And knowing that you can just keep doing what you're doing is really, really important, because when it is stopped, um, you have no control over it. And this is the thing, is it's just one of those things that the more you can do to just keep yourself healthy, keep your mind healthy, keep your body healthy, and it's not really about what you look like. It's about how you feel when you get up every day. It's knowing that when challenges come, you're ready for it, because that's really important. And it could be something as simple as, getting a cold or getting the flu. It's putting yourself in a good vessel that can fight those things. And it's like when the kids were babies, that you would say, oh, they've got that little bit of fat on them, and it's great because then if they get sick, they've got something to lose. And I had one daughter that was very skinny, and she struggled to keep weight on her, and she was my biggest worry, because when she did get a little cold, she had nothing to lose, and it was really hard. And as humans, the more we can look after, this vessel that we've been given, then we're ready. We're ready for anything. And you never know when anything's going to happen. It could be that you just got to walk a really long way or something. There's plenty of people that have been put in that situation in the last couple of years. You've got to pack up your bags and keep walking. And if you're not ready for that, then that's tough. So I think just, yeah, being the best vessel that you can be to go out there, and that comes with health. Yeah.
Next, we have a question from our previous guest.
What would your power song be?
Oh goodness, that's my power song. I was actually really dreading this question because I didn't have it. So I was like, oh my goodness, what are they going to ask? But thank you, previous guest, for that one. It's something really cheesy, which is probably Gloria Gaynor. I can't even think.
Will survive.
I And I think it's just one of those ones that whenever I was on the dance floor, whenever I was younger, I know that she's my generation, but we would all just be like, I will survive. And it's one of those ones that when you dance, you look at your girlfriend in the eyes and you mean it. Yeah, I was either that, or I was going to choose the Spice Girls Wannabe. If you want to be my lover, you got to get with my friends. And that's probably the other one, which is, almost like, you really got to take me as I am. Otherwise, you will probably struggle. And this is what I love about my husband, is he really does celebrate me and all that comes with this. And it's very empowering to know that someone celebrates you. So I think that sort of that wannabe one is yeah, it's an interesting one.
Sarah, you are an amazing, strong woman. I am so glad that you spent your time with us today for us to get connected. You see what I did there?
Very good, very good.
But thank you for joining us today. And I would love to have you back on one of our panels to join some of our other speakers.
That would be amazing. I've had so much fun. I actually feel like I've just been chatting with my girlfriend and how is it that we're thousands of miles apart and we literally have a computer screen, and I want to meet you in person? So I just think, technology is fantastic in the right hands, and this is exactly what it's for, is to connect people. And so thank you so much.